Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Libra in March 2021. I almost said February, so maybe some of you guys are a little still stuck on February. Anyway, what's up, Libra? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to your March reading. Hopefully, wherever you are in the world right now, Libra, you're safe, happy, healthy, and secure. Take very good care, thank you, of yourselves and those that you know and love. Extend some of that good treatment, that kindness, that care, that empathy towards others, people that you don't know so well, or even a perfect stranger. Raise the vibration of the collective. Put that good karmic intention out into the world, because not only does it benefit you, it benefits everybody else, right? You know? Anyway, guys, no other announcements here in March. Let's go ahead and get into it. Anything you want, Libra, it's in the description box. Timestamps down there. Information on how to purchase a personal reading with me is down there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I give you a handy dandy link to my Instagram account. I will get back to posting. I took an unofficial break from it for several months now, but in March, I'm going to get back into using it and providing a couple of cards throughout the month, oracle cards that I'll interpret for you guys, okay? All right, Libra, this is the base of your story. We're going to start with that. We're going to expand on it with the tarot deck, and then instead of an outcome this month, I'm pulling oracle cards from some pre-selected decks. So yeah, that's what you got to look forward to. Let's get into it. Starting out, you have the Three of Air, aka Three of Swords, Death card, Major Arcana for Scorpio. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, but you don't have to be. And the Son of Cups, aka the Knight of Cups, or excuse me, Son of Water, aka the Knight of Cups, water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You don't have to be dealing with any sign that I mention. The only sign that matters in a general like this is yours. So, Libra, listen, based on the lineup here and the imagery, some of you yourselves, or you're dealing with a person who has some type of addiction. And that's, again, just on the imagery that I see here. Someone may have some type of addiction to drugs, substances, certain behaviors that could lead to significant change, okay? Hopefully not, as the card says, and slightly depicts, because this is not a prediction, but I do get the sense that some of you yourselves, or you've known people who have come very close to death because of an addiction, okay? It's not to make light of it. It's not to say that happened and now it's, smooth sailing for the rest of the story, but I do feel possibly a younger person, or someone when they were younger in their teenage years, since knights usually speak to adolescence, young adulthood, so teenage years, maybe to mid to late 20s, there could have been some really awful circumstances and behavior and choices that a person made that, again, maybe led them very close to death, if not, in some of your cases, maybe you did lose someone. But again, that's strictly off of just the order of the cards, and just like when they came out, and I was, I was still, before I turned on the camera, I was just like, this looks like somebody who had a story. And it didn't end nicely for many of them. But again, if that doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. But diving deeper in here, there is still this feeling of, if not addiction, consistent bad choices, or a circumstance that you and or other people are involved in, Libra, that brings about consistent heartache or heartbreak. It does not have to be about abuse of drugs or substances. It does not have to speak to or be related to mortal death, but there is this like constant coming up to a very pivotal and scary moment. And I gotta say, what it feels like, Libra, is someone is afraid to be not hurt, or someone is afraid and doesn't know how to not be broken. I sense here there's a person in your story, could be you, but it's a general, could be someone you're dealing with. So take what works and leave what doesn't, okay? But it feels like somebody has opportunity to change, might even have desire with the Knight of Cups over there, might have a desire to change, to transform, to see something come out of their life that wasn't there before, or something exist in their life, in their relationships, in their connections, in within themselves, whatever, that hasn't been there before, but cannot get away from bad habits, cannot get away from bad circumstances and or relationships, cannot release, truly get over some type of loss or some type of heartbreak. Okay? It's going to vary in all of your lives, in all of your cases. It's going to have different details and nuances. But I do get the sense of someone hasn't really healed themselves or found closure in a situation. Therefore, they cannot transform. Therefore, they can't release themselves, or they don't feel they're capable of transforming and in some cases transcending into a new way of being. There's this play it again, Sam. There's this repetitive thing coming back. I feel like even, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling. It's like I'm moving and then yanked back. I'm moving, yanked back. It's like a dog on a leash or something like that. Or, you know, it's like you think you're free, you think you're progressing, you think you found a way to finally let go of whatever happened or whatever exists in the Three of Swords, and then the closer you get to that transition point, that point of finally saying I'm over it, or I'm done with these past behaviors, I'm done with these people that have dragged me down, I'm done with self-sabotage, whatever the Three of Swords is, it's different for all of you. And just as you're about to cross that threshold into this new sense of self, you get yanked back, pulled back into old habits or old situations or old relationships or old perspectives, whatever it is. That's so strong that I'm feeling a cycle coming from the Three of Air there, the Three of Swords. Such a strong, repetitive feeling that no matter how far you or someone else thinks they've gone or they've progressed, nope. Old habits are dying hard or not at all. You know, because death as an archetype in tarot, again, not predicting or talking about what I talked about at the top. For some of you, that was a old story that maybe you needed affirmation about, or maybe that's what's, you know, grief. The card itself says grief can be something that we don't heal from. So some of you have had, in some of your cases, a particular loss that brings you back, that keeps you in a cycle of some type. But again, death is just archetypally not usually about mortal death in tarot, especially in a general reading, okay? And so it's more about, like I said, change, transformation. You know, finally coming to grips with or coming to terms with some type of grief and releasing yourself from it. You know, nobody can do that work except for the individual Libra, right? I think we could easily agree on that. If you're grieving for something or over something, or you feel guilty, or you feel stuck, or whatever, however grief is manifesting in your life or in the story, whoever's experiencing it, they're the only one who can work through that pain. They're the only one who can work through that issue, right? And there's something here about that. Like maybe that's it. Because I'm sitting here saying confidently, because, you know, this is my belief and it's something that I've seen mirrored in my own life. The only person who can transform the grief is the person experiencing it. But remember I said before, circumstances and people, old behaviors, just bad habits pull the person back. That could be the disconnect here, is like somebody, for lack of a better phrasing, blames external or other people or circumstances around them for why they're still grieving, or why they can't get over their grief, or why they can't get to this transformation period, right? So there is, for some, well, no, yeah, for a good portion, because it's not realized, is you control you, right? You control your path, your journey, right? And if you want progress, you have to claim it. And if you want to be released from something, you have to make it happen. You know what I mean? So someone says, well, I wanted to do this, but then my best friend called me and that just triggered me to go back in and start doing what I used to do. So that explanation of my best friend called me, this person showed up, in some cases, and again, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a specialist in substance abuse or anything like that. But it's like the drug was offered to me, and when it was in my face, they put the beer on the table, they laid out a line of Coke, whatever it is, and then that is like the thing. The reason I can't have this, or the reason I'm not further along in my journey, or I haven't truly let go of my addictions or my problems, is because XYZ showed up and XYZ was placed in front of me. Well, that's, again, not accepting that you don't have to engage. It's as simple as that, even though it's hard. And again, I'm outside this. I'm sort of the spectator here. I'm not experiencing it, but I have myself, and well, not drugs or anything. But it's easy to say that when you're outside of it. I understand that, but that is literally that is the way it is. The drink doesn't jump down your throat. The Coke doesn't ram itself up your nose. The friend doesn't come to your house. Well, I hope not. They don't come to your house and point a gun to your head and say, hey, let's go do bad shit together because that's what we used to do. And if you don't do it, I'm going to take your life. I hope to God that's not what's going on in any of your cases. But you see what I mean? There is always this element of choice. And I feel, again, there's like a meme or two out there on the internet that basically some people don't know how to not be broken. They don't know how to not be in grief, in this Three of Swords energy. That's all they know. They think that's who they are. They identify someone in this reading, Libra, identifies very strongly with, for all intents and purposes, or for lack of a better phrase, I should say, doom and gloom. Like they really don't see themselves or their circumstances in a bright light. Even though Son of Water over there, Knight of Cups, they dream of it. They fantasize about it. So somebody here, it's not like it's their fault. Whatever they experience back here, let's say the initial hurt, the initial, sword through the heart, whatever that was, that's the inception point, right? That's the catalyst point. But this person, it's like a wound, or it's like a wound. So any wound on the body, for the most part, will heal on its own at some point. It might get infested, and it might, be nasty for a minute, but the body has its own way of kind of healing itself in many injuries, right? Not all, of course, not all. But this person doesn't do themselves any favor, because as they're healing, as their body is recuperating, they go scratching at and picking at the wound, opening up that area which is trying to heal over, which is trying to get back to normal, so to speak, right? And somebody goes back in. So the wound on the arm or the wound on the leg or whatever, it's healing over, the scar is forming, blah, 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 blah. They go in, dirty hands, bacteria all under their fingernails and scratching, causing themselves to be reinfected or re-injured in some type of way. Because they don't know what it's like to not be injured, to not be sitting there with an open wound on their arm. Do you get what I mean? Oh. So anyway, let's build on this story. What else is going on here? Please show me, for Libra in March 2021. What else is happening in this story? Please show me. Moon, again. I just did Virgo's reading, and the moon, I don't know, it just struck me really hard in their reading, so. And this was, when I opened this deck out of the box, that was on the bottom of the deck, so. That's why I mentioned that. Because you guys are like, what's the moon got to do with anything? Oh, and the Daughter of Water, okay. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy, so 4 of Wands up there. Let's see. Side position. I think we're keeping it. Yep, they're like, turn it over. All right, so 5 of air, aka 5 of swords, in this deck has the word defeat on it, right? So 5 of swords, side position, moon, major arcana for Pisces, could be dealing with a Pisces, but you don't have to be, and the daughter of water, aka the page of cups, again, water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, lots of water energy. So you might have significant water in your chart, you might be dealing with a water sign, but again, just take it all with a grain of salt. Any zodiac I mentioned, that's not you. So it feels like I said before about cycles coming back to old habits not dying, or it's hard to escape certain mindsets or behaviors and circumstances that we're familiar with and people that we're familiar with, right? Five of air in the side position. Again, you can only... I don't know who needs to hear this, but there is someone in your situation, Libra, you or someone else, who doesn't take that ownership of self, doesn't understand or accept or realize that, yeah, sure, and I'm not trying to, minimize it, you may have legit an addiction, and you might have proclivities or certain people that when they call you, you drop everything and you show up and you do whatever you need to do with this person, or what you feel compelled to do with this person. And there's like this feeling of being helpless, or I couldn't avoid it, or it just happened, and da 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 da. It's basically excuses, right? Because we are all individual people. I'm not talking to a bunch of 5th graders out here. I'm not talking to anybody who's not an adult. My analytics show me nobody under the age of 21 is watching this channel, okay? So presuming that's correct, and again, it's very arbitrary, by the way, biological age in many cases, because you can be 45 years old but still behave like you're in middle school, but, whatever. But my point remains is that I'm not talking to people who don't have life experience. I'm not talking to people who haven't been down this road before. And if you continue to go down the same road, the same path, and continue in the same behaviors and circumstances and relationships with people, but expecting a different outcome or wishing for a different outcome, but you show up and you behave and do the same things over and over and over and over again, and the whole time saying, well, it just happened, and they said, and they asked, and they proposed, or the drug showed up, or somebody offered me a drink, and I just didn't have the energy that day. I wasn't in my right state of mind. Okay, like what is gonna give in this situation? Because in many cases, this is quite an unhealthy cycle that someone is stuck in, and I feel half of the battle, if not the majority of the battle that they're fighting, or the war that they're fighting maybe, is self-possession, self-ownership. Somebody acquiesces, somebody relinquishes, doesn't hold themselves accountable, or doesn't feel they're able to do. They don't believe in their own contribution to the situation, and they don't understand or realize their ability to not engage. It's like this feeling of I have no choice, I have no choice, I have no choice. And again, I understand in many cases, if not all the cases where addiction is at play, it's deeper than, just saying, oh, I don't want to do this. There's a deep compulsion. There are physiological triggers that are involved that your brain is like, doesn't that Budweiser look amazing? Doesn't that, line of Coke look like the best thing since sliced bread? You should get into that. I understand that those things are in play, but if you just constantly say, well, it just happened, or I just couldn't help myself, or, well, it's like this person, someone here is sort of like their own worst enemy, or the way they view themselves, because what do we see here on this card? There's a spider web here. So someone views themselves as being an insect, a fly or something stuck on a spider web. And when that happens, I'm pretty sure if an insect flies onto a spider web, they're pretty much stuck. And I'm not trying to say, I feel this is how someone perceives themselves. I am of a personal belief that if you want it, you can change it. You just have to make the right decisions incrementally, step by step by step by step. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of goes hand in hand a little bit, that I do know about recovery programs or recovery efforts in terms of walking away from addictions or trying to mediate any type of addictive behaviors that we have. You're not going to go from being, no offense to anybody, a junkie, to being completely clean in 24 hours. That's not how it works. You will be constantly seeking sobriety and choosing sobriety every day once you say, you know what, I'm going to pass on the drink. I'm going to pass on the offer of the Coke or whatever it is. In most people's cases, according to statistics, it would be an opioid, right? Because that's, the big one in this country and many other countries, right? So the day you say no more to the drug, no more to that toxic relationship, no more to these bad behaviors that I have and I'm in control of, because it's always what we say we want to do, right? Even if the proposal is there, even if every day somebody's offering you something that is your trigger, that is your drug of choice, that is your Achilles heel, whatever it is. Again, this could be a person, a friend, an ex, a toxic family member, a narcissistic family member. I don't want to use that word too lightly, but some of you might be dealing with a narcissist. Very, very small number of you is coming through from these messages. I don't want to mediate or minimize what you're feeling, but that's only for some of you coming through. Anyway, the persistence of all those things is only effective if we engage in them, right? Long and the short of it is, Libra, I feel somebody here doesn't feel capable. And it's their life story. It's their self-perception. It's what other people have told them about themselves. Oh, you, like I said, I use that word. I'm not using it. I don't know the story, and I would never call someone that. And I would never call, junkie. No. But some people have been told, oh, you're just a junkie. You're always going to be that. Oh, you're a failure. You're just always going to be that. You're not smart. You're always going to be the dumbass in the family. Whatever. Like that type of language has been used. And if it's used enough, it becomes something that you perpetuate on your own. You don't need another person to tell you that that's who you are, because they've already, that foundation has been laid. So I feel somebody here has that about them. And instead of facing it or working with it or working on it or trying to really, again, transform. There's something very pivotal in the death energy that someone is afraid of, or they get right up to it and then they're yanked back, or they step back, or they jump back, because it's sacrificial energy coming from the death card. In order to get over this, to stop going back and forth or cycling back into destructive, defeated energy, right? We have to let go of something. We have to give something up. We have to, sacrifice something. This for that. What is the toll that you're going to pay in order to move across into this new way of being, into this new realm of consciousness, or this new understanding of your story? You have to pay something to get there. And somebody doesn't want to do that. Moon energy. They don't know how. They're not confident. They know how, but they've buried it. It's super suppressed. It's super repressed in them. And there's sort of this, the moon can talk about indulgence. So there is sort of, for some people out here, a comfort in the grief. And I said that before in mentioning there's memes and stuff on the internet and on social media, that some people are very comfortable being victims. Some people are very comfortable being broken. There's just a certain, I'm used to it. If you're a victim or you are broken, people will try to champion you. They'll try to take care of you. They want to help you. And so if other people are always trying to help me, I won't have to help myself. Okay? Page of Cups underneath the Page of Cups underneath the Knight of Cups Again, water energy. So for some, just on its face, this could be, for some of you Libras, a dysfunction between a parent and a child. In that the parent is the user, the addicted party, the party stuck in grief, the party that keeps going back to these bad behaviors, bad choices, sabotaging behaviors and choices. And the Page of Water, the Page of Cups, is sort of just staring at that person and looking a little bit disappointed, but then at the same time, well, this is exactly what I expect from you. So a little judgy, a little judgmental. And, you know, I gotta be honest, as a child of addiction myself, I understand that look. I understand that sentiment. Like, well, there you go again. Doing that thing that I thought you were not going to do anymore. But there you go, doing that thing. And there's sorrow behind this, I gotta be honest, you know, because it is the Page of Cups. It is an emotional, or someone who's in their feelings, quote unquote. But it's like somebody who has compassion, has love, has sympathy and empathy towards the person that they're looking at. But because it's a page, they're kind of helpless in this situation. Like, I can't do this for you. And I was saying that and ranting about it a bit ago. Whoever is here in the grief, in the cycle, and returning back to grief, and returning back to self-harm, returning back to addictions, returning back to poor, toxic, unhelpful, and unhealthy relationships, whoever does that, nobody can get you out of that unless you want it. You truly want it, and you make that certain sacrifice. You go to the transition period. You go to the period in the moment of change, and you commit, and you push over the threshold to the other side. The Page of Cups can't help you do that. You have to do that on your own. And if you don't want it, or if you don't believe you can actually do it, then that's what you've decided. And it's not the fault of the other people. It's not the fault of the substance that's offered to you. It's you. It's you. And that's a hard thing. And maybe the way I'm expressing it is kind of is harsh, but I mean, I don't really understand any other way to say it. Because if it wasn't, you know, listen, what I do know about addiction, what I do know about people's proclivity or codependent relationships is that if it's not one, it will be another. If you started off as an alcoholic and suddenly your liver is shot and the doctor's like, if you take one more drink, you're gonna die, and you have a fear of death, it's not like all of a sudden, again, well, because I lost my liver and I don't want to die, I'm clean. No, many people transition to a different drug of choice, right? So I can't drink anymore. I guess I better start shooting up heroin. And again, I'm speaking very, you know, casually about this because I'm really a spectator here. But like, that's what I mean. So you had a toxic relationship with someone for 15 years in a romantic sense. You can easily have a toxic codependent relationship that replaces that with a friend, with a family member. Or you had it with a family member. Maybe that member, like I said earlier, died at some point in your life. This codependent thing that you had with your uncle or with your mother or whomever, right? And then you go and you get that in your marriage, in your friendships. It's the same addiction, different drug. That's all. And the page or anybody else can't release you from that unless you do it. And I'm saying you. I'm not trying to say it's Libra. Whoever is the person with the hang up. Okay? Overall energy for you guys. 4 of Fire, aka 4 of Wands. So the word perfection is jumping out here. You know, maybe for some of you Libras or someone in the story here, there was this idea of perfection and someone basically feels like they have failed. Fallen from grace is kind of this sentiment that I'm getting. So somebody who maybe at some point had it all doesn't have anything now. like a change of fortune, right? So somebody who maybe came from a life of privilege, maybe to friends, their life seemed perfect, right? Came from a wonderful home, growing up, nice neighborhood, all that kind of stuff, had a good job, blah, 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 blah. Then maybe something really tragic happened. Or maybe, you know, we fell in with the wrong crowd, or maybe we just made a couple of bad choices on a Saturday night while we were, you know, club hopping in the 90s or something. And now all of a sudden, oh, I'm addicted to opioids. You know, I lived 26 years clean, one night out, boom. Now for the next 20 years, I'm, you know, in and out of halfway houses, things like that. So I feel like for some of you, someone's story, Libra, in your life, in your vicinity, they had quote unquote perfection, because I don't believe perfection is a real thing. Ugh, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. But to other people, and maybe to themselves, they had a slice of perfection, and now they don't. Or this is what they're constantly going to be reminded of, possibly what they're in grief of. I've had it all, and now I lost it all, okay? In other cases, Four of Wands speaks to your foundation, your home life. So again, there's this possibly a family situation. Possibly you're dealing with, you know, your own addiction or your own proclivity or attachment to people. Or you're dealing with like you know, your sisters or your brothers or whoever's, right? You know, and also if you have seen the traditional depiction of the Four of Wands, it's like a altar or it's like something that's in construction. It's being put up. It's being built. You know, fours are kind of, you know, it's like a building block kind of feel, right? And I feel like somebody feels incomplete. Like the potential of something never actually took shape, but we are remorseful or grieving or reflective upon what could have been. There's something here of like a, man, life could have been different, or this situation could be better if blah, blah, blah was happening or was possible. And so there's just like this feeling of disappointment, of things left undone, left unfinished, something like that. Let's get you an oracle card, please, and then we're going to wrap up. Which oracle deck are we using for Libra's reading today? Please show me. Yeah, okay. My hand was moving before I even opened my eyes. That was good. All right, so postcards from Spirit. We're going to get you a card from this deck. Oh my, that wasn't an even split at all. Oracle message for Libra from the postcards from Spirit. Show me. It's good, thank you. Oh boy. There we go. That's a lot. It's like 4, but we're going to get one from these 4. Dearest you, the common sayings, be in the world but not of it, and wear the world loosely, refer to the need to be engaged with life while not being attached to specific outcomes. Do not take this world too personally, for you are one of many co-creators here to play, and we have many ideas about how all this should play out. Just know the outcomes don't matter as much as the presence you bring to each experience you let yourself flow through life. Oh, and how you let yourself flow through life, excuse me. There's a real freedom in knowing and accepting this. So will you wear the world loosely, or will it straitjacket you? It is your choice. Whatever happens, have the courage to keep trying to live as you are meant to. And when it comes to manifesting, don't worry about the how or even the why. We have that covered. Everything is going to turn out exactly as it should. Spirit has a plan. Loving you always and forever. Now, the part that I think, obviously that aligns mostly with your tarot reading was, it is your choice, right? And let me show you this up to the camera. You can pause it and read it if you want. If it were to focus, let's make it focus now. There you go. So you can pause that and read it if you choose. But the part that I think, again, that resonates the most with your tarot reading is it is your choice. I'm a little weary about it's all, I believe that it all has a purpose. Everything has a plan, or things are going to plan according to spirit. But I'm not sure that at this juncture, because I'm sensing somebody who hasn't even fully conceived of their ability as a co-creator, as the card indicates. I feel there's somebody here who believes their circumstances is what makes them who they are, not they are the person who makes their circumstances. Does that make sense? But that is the oracle that came through. Interpret it as you want, reread it, come back to this reading, and if it helps you at all, that'd be great. Or I'm glad that it has helped you. If this resonated at all and you want to share how it did, leave a comment down below. If you like the reading, make sure you like it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscription button, okay? Libra, I'll be back in a few weeks' time to do your mid-March messages. If you want to get at me for a personal, again, the information is down below in the description box, okay? Libra, I thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.